The Surge Surf Factory. Keep your eye out for Wiz while you're here. Let's see. Toxanol's mining led to mass deforestation and increased global warming, as nature couldn't absorb the carbon dioxide and greenhouse gas emissions without the trees. These irreversible changes to the climate also contributed to the evolution and modified our genetic code. Wuz isn't easy on the tongue, but I think he says he's happy to see a friendly face. Not too many of those around these days. Says it's good to see you again. He's Wiz. You might remember him from the old days when he let you try his octopod? Wiz remembers you were such a cheery kid, and he's glad to see that light hasn't faded from you, despite the years. But Wiz understands it was a long time ago, and memories get murkier the deeper you go, but says it helps to have friends with you to plumb those depths. They've been here for you since you were a kidling, but when you left, you also chose to distance yourself from everyone that cared for you. Wiz says our memory keeps things for us, preserves them until we are ready to face them again. He knows you've returned to face Lupa Lupin, and that confrontation is as inevitable as the tides. He's not surprised that the loss of your family could plunge you into the depths forever, but you've always been able to rise like a bubble to the surface, no matter what. He knows that though the tides of history may push you in one direction, you can always lay your own course. Ultimately, it's your choice. You were the one to be wronged and have lived with the consequences. He believes in consequence as it's a direct result of action.
Hard to find any shadows now.
Correct, and we can always make more.
Well, there has to be a way to stop that.
Turn off the lights. No shadows then.
That's not what I meant.
Asks if you ever think about freedom and whether any of us really has it. Did you make the decisions that brought you here, or are you just a pawn of fate? Maybe that's true for you, but he's not so sure about his own fate. Amazed the world is going to continue on, but happy to hear it. Still so many things to invent. Impressed that you fought so hard to keep the world spinning. Thinks you were smart to join with the Myriad. They have a rainbow of ways to approach any problem. Thinks that kind of diversity brings strength. But that's not nearly as important as this. Wiz says that you should let the past dwell in the depths, but there's something else down there too, gnawing at the Tree of Life. He's named it the Merc Puff. This is why he's tinker-tonkering with the octopod. but the lid got stuck, so he needs a big enough tug twister to open it up and let you a go in. He can't leave the surge station, so you must help him find a tug twister. There's a wound-up mecha Fingro in the mecha stadium that still has one stuck on its back. Find it, and you'll find the tug twister. He found it stranded on a shore nearby and got Gizmo to help tow it here so they could get to work on it. Toxanol probably made it to go under Surf and see the damage they've caused for themselves. Look at the notices on that board. No one paid much attention to them, it looks like. Wiz should be around here somewhere, probably taking care of his guppos. A surge surf factory was one of the cleaner ways to make power, until the surf turned into goo and clogged it all up, that is. The power comes from turning the movement of the surf into surge sparks. Sometimes science is beyond belief. There are sure to be more tracks around here, maybe by the shore. Let's see. This place used to be full of the living. Wood scrap's great for building things. Impressed you found that, despite all the goo. This place has held power for a long time. In many ways, it still does. That would require cleaning up all the goo. Glad you found that track. There's a... Whatever you do it right, or don't do it at all. An old home could be something good. Might not need that now, but you will later. That's the hot hut. Wonder if there's anything still inside. You're not dead yet. Running low. Don't let the day pass you by. Looks good. Never have too much scrap, plastic or otherwise. watch it. Isotope. That's some good e-waste there. Don't want to point the finger, but the mech stadium is near here. Raid! The end is coming to the world, and everything else. Lockety-locked. Not opening for you. You need to loosen the bolts without unsettling it. That's it. The tug twister's loose. Let's hope it turned the grabbing hand into a helping hand, too. Ooh-wee, that's biohazard. You need to line up the switches so they match. Good. That's enough electric current to initiate the actuators and activate the framework. Get under that sky while you still can. He believed the tug twister would do the trick, but now realizes brute force won't do the trick. You need something slick. He agrees that it's an option if you want to break stuff, but in this case you want to keep things intact, so it won't leak once you get undersurf. He says the lid should open if you sprinkle grease it. Problem is, he's all out. He knows his old friend Choo Choo always keeps his grease sprinklers well filled. He should have an extra that you can borrow. He stresses that you should come back as soon as you've retrieved the grease sprinkler. The Merc Puff is crunching bark by the minute. Wants you to think of it as a black tar spritzer. The dead zone is full of that slimy black goo. It's good for fuel, but it's also slippy stuff. Hard to see too far in the darkness. That's a chug hut. Probably no chug-chugs in it, but you never know. Find us a sunset to ride into. That's a bang plant, where Toxanol used to make all sorts of splody things before it blew up in their faces. Give it a little pat. Go on. Hey, there's some e-waste. You've reached the end of the line. Bet you can find Choo Choo here. Let's see. You're in charge of that mount. Act like it. Choo Choo knew you would make it to him one day. All you had to do was follow the steel path. The rails might be getting rusty, but eventually they all converge on him. Claims rails are like rules. If you follow them the way you're supposed to, everything good in life can roll your way. Says you followed the rails to where you need to be, but tracks have switches in them too. The question is then, will you keep on the same track or look for a way to hit that switch? You seem like you're on the right track already. He just hopes you don't get sidetracked onto a darker path. Whichever way you go, he wants you to know that the rails never steer you wrong. Stick to them and they always bring you right to where you're meant to be. Wants to know if you've ever regretted taking one track in life instead of another. If you could go back, would you switch tracks or keep chugging along the one you're on? Likes your sureness, the way you keep at it like a chug-chug with no way to reverse. Seems like the world came out of its rut and is chugging toward higher ground again. Can't thank you enough for hitting the brakes and working to turn the world chug around. But let's not get derailed. Says he's surprised to see anyone this far out, but sometimes the wrong train does take you to the right station. As you can see, he didn't plan to make a stop here, but now that he had to, he's really happy to see you. He says his name is Choo Choo. He's been off track since the world started dying, but he's trained his mind to stay positive regardless of the situation. Figures that's true, but they can get you close enough to most things for most reasons. You can stumble along from there. He's convinced the tracks are like the paths our lives take, and you must deal with the outcome, even if you didn't lay them yourself. This time, though, he was sidetracked and needs a new wing nut to get back on track. Wing nuts are easy to find, as they're fitted on any in-front chugger-chugger out there. The challenge is taking them off, so he's happy you're here to do it for him. Says he knew you would, like he knows the way the rails run. For a beastie, this mount is so gentle. the Wingnut Chug Tunnel. It goes on forever. That sort of stuff always comes in handy. How far does this underplace go on? X-Raid. Disgusting. Biohazard. Just gross. keep focused on what you can do today. Tomorrow's already gone. Choo-Choo says he knew you'd come through. If someone makes a stop at your station, it's for a good reason. But he understands no one gets their tracks greased for free. He'd be happy to part with his spare grease sprinkler, as he believes it's a great fit for any of your business that needs to be unstuck. He keeps it safe in a box on the handcart, in case of emergency. It's on the cart. He wants to keep it close by. In general, you won't have much time to act in case of an emergency. Choo-Choo says you should help yourself to the grease sprinkler. It's a versatile tool from the bygone, a last of its kind, so don't let it go to waste. He's convinced you'll put it to good use, as there are lots of stuckies out there that need greasing to open. Seems glad you think so. You're on the right rail. Choo-Choo says he can't wait to get out of this place. Seems surprised you have to go.